Picture a country completely sealed off from the entire world. In the mid-19th century, that country was Japan. For over 200 years, the ruling Tokugawa shogunate enforced a strict isolationist policy. The only outsiders allowed were a handful of Dutch and Chinese traders, who were confined to a tiny island in Nagasaki's harbor. Any other foreigners who landed, even shipwrecked sailors, were often imprisoned or even executed. For the United States, this was a major problem. America's whaling fleet, a huge industry back then, sailed all over the Pacific. They desperately needed access to Japanese ports to restock on coal, water, and food. Of course, the dream of opening up a massive new market for trade was also a powerful motivator. But every diplomatic attempt had failed, time and time again. Frustration was building in Washington. Then in 1849, an American naval captain named James Glynn managed to secure the release of some jailed American sailors from Nagasaki. When he got back, he told Congress that if they really wanted to open Japan, polite diplomacy wouldn't be enough. They needed to show up with a force that simply could not be ignored. Taking this advice to heart, President Millard Fillmore chose the perfect man for the job, Commodore Matthew C. Perry. Perry was a decorated naval hero, a veteran of multiple wars, and a visionary who had modernized the U.S. Navy. They called him the father of the steam navy for a reason. He was tough, experienced, and not someone who took no for an answer. In 1852, he received his mission, sail to Japan and do whatever it took to establish relations. On July 8, 1853, the people of Edo, what we now call Tokyo, saw something that defied belief. 4 massive warships, larger than any Japanese vessel, steamed into their harbor without sails, churning the water and belching black smoke. These were Perry's black ships. The Japanese, who had never seen steamships before, were stunned and terrified. Local officials quickly rowed out and ordered Perry to sail to Nagasaki, the only place designated for foreigners. Perry refused. This was a show of force, and he was the star. To make his point crystal clear, he ordered his ships to aim their powerful Pake-Sans shell guns capable of firing explosive shells not at the city itself, but at the buildings around the harbor. The bombardment was a demonstration. The thunderous explosions and devastating power were unlike anything the Japanese military could counter. Their own cannons were ancient, and their samurai warriors, though brave, were powerless against modern naval artillery. The shogunate was faced with a brutal reality. Resist and their capital city would be reduced to ashes. Realizing they were completely outmatched, they reluctantly agreed to receive Perry. He came ashore with a large, armed escort and delivered a letter from President Fillmore requesting a treaty of friendship and commerce. Perry then announced he would be back next year for their answer, and he expected it to be a yes. True to his word, Perry returned in February 1854, this time with an even larger fleet of 9 warships. The intimidation worked. The Japanese government, having seen the power of the West, had no choice but to concede. They presented a document that agreed to most of America's demands. This became the Convention of Kanagawa. The treaty opened 2 Japanese ports, Hakodate and Shimoda, to American ships for refueling and supplies. It guaranteed the safety of shipwrecked American sailors and established a permanent American consul in Japan. While it wasn't a full commercial trade agreement just yet, it was the crack in the door that would soon be thrown wide open. Other Western powers quickly followed America's lead, signing their own treaties with Japan. This moment changed Japan forever. The sudden influx of foreign influence and technology created massive social and political upheaval. It exposed the weakness of the Tokugawa shogunate, which had failed to protect the nation from the barbarians. This humiliation was a key factor in the shogunate's downfall just a few years later, leading to the Meiji Restoration and Japan's rapid transformation into a modern industrialized power. And what about Commodore Perry? For his successful and forceful gunboat diplomacy, the U.S. Congress awarded him a handsome reward of $20,000, a huge sum at the time. He went down in history as the man who, through a show of overwhelming force, ended 2 centuries of isolation and brought Japan into the global community, setting the stage for the world we know today. Thanks for watching. If you found this piece of history interesting, Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that shaped our world. See you next time.